You're now listening to From the Jump.
Welcome to From the Jump, your source for all things hip-hop. I'm Syllable. This is my co-host,
Mr. White.
Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below saying I subscribed, and we'll try our best to reply to your comment. And today we're going to talk about Lupe Fiasco's new Mural song off of his brand new album,
Drill Music in Zion.
And so you can check the corner of the screen for our other reaction videos to the rest of the album. So on this track, it's another example of how Lupe Fiasco is really taking the helm as one of the greatest lyricists alive when he's just going into deep metaphors about the state of his relationship with the record industry, as well as probably parables for race, class, and social constructs.
He does such a good job of using the reference of being a painter and an artist, but also talking about what it means to have that type of journey.
Yeah. Just starting off with the opening lines, it just hits so hard they stick to you like super glue when he's like, if you had to paint the gutter, which color would you choose? Said the patron to the painter. The painter said the blues. It's like you start off with something that's that deep and impactful.
Yeah, like
right off
I mean,
gate.
we could talk 20 minutes just on that first
Just
line,
on those
right?
lines.
The setup is he's the painter. There's someone coming into, let's say, a gallery or where he does his work. They're kind of asking him about his process and what's going on. We look at this excerpt here, an atlas on the trunk from the land of broken goals, just a cover in the back that you open and you close. Where are all the pages? The painter said to fame. I ripped them all out and made some paper planes, fish grease absorbers, and origami cranes. So he's talking about how what everybody loved about his art or whatever, what was going on, like, oh, you have this book of art, like, isn't this like your crown jewel?
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, I just
use it to catch the grease.
Like, I don't even care about this stuff anymore. Like, I know you care about it so much, but I'm done with it. I'm on to something else now.
No, I mean, that's deep as fuck when he's making this metaphor out of origami for his art, talking about how really it's just as worthless as just a paper crane catching grease to other people, to anyone now, you know, because it's not his authentic self. I really enjoy Lupe Fiasco's description of corporate fiefdom with these lines when he talks about displays of physical carnage make connections to the ranks. Goes over very well with South Americans and Yanks. Not to sound shamanistic, but there's medicine in paint. It gets kinetic if you let it. There's a fetish in its strength. Martyrdom will call. Russian roulette is in the flanks. And most would pull the trigger if the weapon was full of blanks. And it's so deep when talking about how, like, not a lot of people would actually sacrifice themselves for the art if they realized the cost they would have to pay. You know, if it's full of blanks, sure. If it's fashionable or trendy without actual repercussions, why not sell out, right, or whatever?
And how many 4 a.m. nights, how many 10, 12, 15-hour sessions have we run just making one song, right?
Just one song.
And people look at it from the outside in like, oh, this is easy. They, you know, and most people know that it's not that easy, right? They'll go do their karaoke. They'll go and mess around in the studio. But to actually make a record that's worth listening for the masses,
Takes sweat and blood.
It takes a lot. And he's just talking about the fact that, yeah, of course everybody would do it if they could, but they can't.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
He talked about, you know, stepping in the pool of sharks and being able to essentially navigate that, just like he talked on the rest of the project.
Yeah. Displays of physical carnage, makes connections to the ranks, goes over very well with South Americans and Yanks. He's talking about the fact that so many bloody coups have happened to put people in power all over the world. America as well, you know, but so many different things have cost so much bloodshed to get there. And he's talking about how that gets you established in the ranks. But the perspective that he's taking with all this, talking about not to sound shamanistic with this medicine and paint, now he's talking about the element that music has of really healing people, to getting out of mesh it, speaking about things that matter, that motivate people to make decisions in their lives that change the world.
And just art in general. I don't think we have to just lock it into music.
Sure.
I think he is also a painter himself. I think he might have even painted the album cover here. There are lots of things, even different forms of entertainment like sports and all of that. Like, those things could be considered art forms, and a lot of people in those industries have to put a lot in. It's tough. But once again, from the outside looking in, we're like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. And if you do that, if you you take the pain in beauty, right? Yeah. We appreciate it. We appreciate you destroying yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, so like there's an episode of The Boondocks where the whole time it was about white people just clapping at random things, and it was ridiculous because there was nothing to clap about, but they just wanted to clap at something.
It's just, I know what episode you're talking, and it just sounds funny just putting that out there. The writers is so great on it.
Yeah, it's such good shit. So I think Lupe Fiasco really displayed like what it was like struggling to creatively express himself while still being commercially successful, with some of the lines that he goes into saying, "The current art world is just competitively opaque. It never ceases to amaze. My mouth is medically agape. One day it's raising up the brand. The next is shredding it to flakes. And the velocity of trends is what referees the pace. Professionally accept what ethically I hate. So all of my work, you see, is wrestling with fate." And it's just like that goes super deep when it comes to what he's processing in order to produce something that everyone else bumps to at the club.
Yeah, and it's easy for people to enjoy it, but it's much harder for him to make it and also have the same enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because he has a different vantage point. Because he's putting in the work for you.
Yeah.
So you can just go to the club and kick it and have a good time. And even with those next lines where he comes in, deceiving in the brushstrokes, how aggressively I strafe, like putting on some makeup, more like severing a face. So you're watching it from the outside and you're like, oh man, that's beautiful. That's so delicate. And from the inside, it's like him chopping his own foot off.
Yeah.
Because it's not that enjoyable.
Putting on a mask.
And it's tough for him. And I think he's eloquent. Instead of him just being like, I'm mad, I'm angry, going the Eminem route where I hate these stands. Like, y'all don't get it. He's more so just saying like, I still do it out of the love and the appreciation for the art, but it just gets harder and harder. And I just want to do something different.
Right.
I don't want to always be viewed the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Lupe Fiasco just simply wants to be exactly who he wants to be without actually compromising that identity just to make record sales. And that's rare for someone as well known as he is. What's really interesting is there's so many different interpretations that one could have of this song. Now, we understand what we feel like is going on here, but definitely anyone could have a different perspective. But the last part of the song definitely seems to speak directly to his experience of being forced to be something that he's not, put up on a pedestal and looked at like an object just to achieve ends, you know, and money. When he's talking about the end of it, where he's like, "Wow," said the patron with a smile, "that's the most interesting diatribe I've heard in a while. How you articulated the nature and put it all on trial, took it up to heaven, then put it on the ground." The painter asked the patron, "Can you stand up on the pile?" I had a flash of inspiration, my creativeness aroused. The model took its place. The painter grabbed a lighter, doused that shit in gasoline, and set it all on fire. It's like Lupe Fiasco saying, look,
he's starting over. He's ready to clear the plate. He's ready to say, whatever you thought about me before, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Just like he made this album on GarageBand with a $100 mic.
3 days.
Still released it how he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And he's no longer going to be chained to this idea of being a pop rapper or being whatever you think he is. He is exactly who he wants to be, and this is what he wants to be talking about. And I love it, man. I love him taking that approach of saying, I'm just getting rid of all of it. Everything that you thought about me, it's over.
It's the most eloquent F you to people that want to force him into the box of Pop Lupe, you know? And I like that because he's, like we were talking about, he's not just bitter about it. He's actually being able to articulate in a way that makes people want to applaud, even the same people that he's trying to say,
and he's vicious, though. He's vicious in the same way because he's willing to burn up his fan base. He's willing to burn up the critics. He's willing to burn up the industry. He does not care.
No.
He burn it all down, and he's definitely showing that, right? This project is not anything that'll ever be considered mainstream, in my opinion.
No.
And I'm always gonna appreciate and love it. And I'm gonna go back to this trilogy of songs. I hope he continues it, like, you know, with Kendrick doing like the Heart Pot 5. Like, I would like to see, you know, a Mural the Third Jr. or something like that. Whatever, you know, Mural the Great. Whatever you want to do, man. Keep making Mural tracks, Lupe. I support.
Definitely. We at From the Jump support Lupe Fiasco's continuing to extemporize his suffering in a way that entertains but educates.
Yes.
What did y'all think about the album? Comment below and let us know what lyrics stood out to you from this song full of incredible bars. Like and subscribe. Tune in for another episode of
From the Jump.